For the very next concert of the Canton Symphony Orchestra, the Masterworks 5 program, the concert will open with a work by composer Mw5 Mj, who was a Kazakhstan-born composer. She took up residence as a U.S. citizen in Orlando, Florida. Her work explores her mixed heritage, which intertwine elements of East Asian, Central Asian, Western Asian cultures, along with the Western tradition. The Floridian Symphony, as she describes it, is a musical representation of a dusk to dawn time lapse of Florida's natural soundscapes, the diverse wildlife, and the suburbs of Orlando. She tries to capture this in a symphonic voice, and the audience will be surprised to find that the orchestra is doing a lot of strange and unusual sounds to reproduce these sounds. So you have to be attentive when you're listening to the Floridian Symphony. The second program on the agenda is the Karelia Overture by John Sibelius. He was born and raised with Swedish parents. All his life he spoke Swedish. He never really mastered the language of Finland. When he composed his 75-minute work, the Guillermo Symphony, Opus 7, it was a masterpiece, and it was welcomed, and he was honored as a great voice of the Finnish people. Following that, he was asked to compose several pieces of music, the first being a series of historic tableaus for the Puri Student Association in the Puri province. This he called Karelia, which is the historic name of Finland, and it begins with the famous overture that we're going to hear on the program tonight. It's interesting and maybe a little bit sad to note that most of the other music that he wrote for that occasion was lost and only recently reconstructed, but the overture is complete. However, most people in the audience will remember a second kind of composition that he wrote a couple of years later that ended with a piece called Finlandia. That takes us to the major work of the evening, and that is Richard Strauss's Alpine Symphony. While he had written a number of symphonic poems following in the tradition of Franz Liszt, he was following the example of Richard Strauss, and he really liked writing compositions of this style inspired by some other non-musical influence. And for this one, he recalled an episode when he was lost with some friends climbing around the Alpines, and also that from his room, he could see the alpine scenery daily from his studio in Garmisch, especially the big mount, the main peak. So this was first performed in 1915. He was conductor, of course, and it became very, very popular. The students are photographers from Canton and the region were asked to submit their photographs of landscapes and natural scenery, and those will be interpolated into and projected on the screen while you're hearing the Alpine Symphony. Also, I understand that the titles will be projected, so you'll know exactly where you are at every moment. Strauss actually recorded the piece for the first time in 1925 in a rather rare recording. I managed to find that particular recording. It's impressive to hear. He recorded again in 1941 back during the period of Germany. He creates a very evocative kind of a picture. You can almost picture them ascending the ice, slipping around on the ice, the thunderstorm, the wind blowing, all done in music in a fashion similar to what Choi is doing in her piece at the beginning. So I hope you'll enjoy Masterworks 5 and visit the Canton Symphony again with friends.